Hello everyone and welcome to the AOR Split 2. It's a British Grand Prix and with my co-commentator Ryan LT3.
Hello guys, welcome to the highlights here for the British Grand Prix. I'm looking forward to this. I'm sure Hamish is looking forward to this. Let's see how these guys will be doing here for 26 laps at the home of British Motorsport, the Silverstone circuit.
Yeah, so Season 7 podium went to Zomaker, followed by Silver Arrow and Beyond. And the Season 7 pole also went to Zomaker. He got a 1:29.7, so you have to look out to see how much these guys have improved in one season.
Yep, and the last time we were here, the last round at Monaco, it was Chaz MR who took the victory around the streets of Monaco. And the tyre compounds for this race is the mediums, the hards, and the intermediates and the wets if we get a monsoon. Let's now head over to Marco, who's going to be doing the qualifying report.
MarcoFD here for a quali comparison between Desania and Pack F1 as they run over the line into the first corner. Abbey flat out both as we head into the arena section where both drivers will have to be very technical to get a good exit out of the arena section here. And as you can see, they both get through it pretty decently, and it seems that Desania is ahead a little bit of Pack at this moment. And as we can see here, Desania is in the shadow while Pack is about 2 car lengths behind as we go into Brooklands here. As the cars both slow it down for the right-hander called the field. As we go get a good exit, but you can see Desania tapping the gravel there a bit, losing some time to Pack there. As we go towards Caps, the old turn 1. Both drivers will take it flat out. Again, Desania takes a little more grass on the inside towards Maggots. Flat out corner, and backwards you gotta be a little easy on the throttle here as we get onto Chapel. And both cars are pretty similar. It seems Pack is ahead at this point a little bit. They are both on a different side of the track though, which is very interesting. As we go towards Stowe, well, 5th gear is usually what I take it in, and that's what these drivers are doing as well. As we go on to Vale, second to last corner, and they both head into Club, where we will see that right before the line, Desania is like a fraction ahead of Pack.
Thank you Marco for the qualifying comparison. The top 4 drivers, they happen to be pad users, but they're all within 10th of a second. That was a very good job from all 4 of those drivers getting into the 28s. Just outside the 128s and the 29s we have the first wheel user, Silver Arrow, the Ferrari. He did a sterling effort. Just behind him for only 4 thousandths we have DH1806 in the Caterham. We have a relatively poor qualifying by Chaz. He's in 7th in the Williams. He's quite a few tenths off his teammate. In 8th we have mpracing, in 9th we have Artbox, also known as Jay. He's a reserve driver, newcomer into the league. In 10th we have Kiku in the 2nd Ferrari. In 11th we have Chicane. He qualified with the hard compliant tyres, so it'll be interesting to see if that pays off in the race. In 12th we have Tarkin Biaz, and in 13th we have Artos. Now back to Ryan and Hamish for the race. It's the British Grand Prix with your commentators Hamish and Ryan LT3. We've got 79% chance of race, Ryan. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting race as the drivers line up in these wet conditions.
It is, and it's typical weather that we're going to get a nice heavy rain for a start here. With that 79% chance, we could see a bit of a light shower at the end, or even dry conditions at the end. But we'll see how we do here as we've got Hamish on pole position as the lights are now coming on as we're about to start yet another round of the AOR PC League here as the lights are out here in Silverstone, and Riotbox gets a great start, and Peck has also got a great start there as they're going to be trying to get up the gears as quickly as possible, get that track controlled perfectly as they're going to go through turn 1 now, and Chaz has a bit of contact with Silver Arrow there going now into Village Corner, and it seems alright. Nice and clean start this from these guys in ferocious conditions here. As Jay, or Riotbox as he's well known, is going to try and go on the outside of DH in the McLaren there. but is he going to try and get it around? There's DH has gone off actually onto the grass there, as Jay gets up to 7th place and has a bit of a Ken Block style drift there going out of the corner, but keeps it on the track. And this is such a great start here from these guys, Hamish. Nice and clean, and that's what you need to see here. As I signed it up there, Chicane just goes down the inside of Taken there, up into 9th position. What a start that's been.
Yeah, it's been a very good start. Also, I noticed how little visibility Chicane could see, especially in the cockpit cam. You could almost see nothing in front of you. It's amazing how he was able to get the move done as well and hit the corner. So very good stuff there, and yeah, like you said, a very good start. So it's good to see that we've got fast, clean, competitive racing here, as we have Chaz possibly going to try and move on Silver Arrow. He's going to be in the slipstream. I don't think Silver got the best exit, and Chaz is closing in slowly, but it's not going to be enough unless he tries a bit of a dive bomb. And no, Chaz thinks otherwise, as it looks like Chaz's teammate Peck is also having a look out. The Peck's under pressure by the driver behind him, which is Rabox. And Rabox is under pressure by MP Racing. He goes a little bit wide. That's going to really compromise his speed, and MP Racing is surely going to get them moved onto the line. And no, it's not MP. It's DH has somehow got a fantastic move on MP and Rabox.
Yeah, so now on board with Chicane, who I will say is pretty wise and brave to do cockpit cam in these conditions. As you said, he can't see a thing, and it's amazing how he can drive like this. And on there, as we see someone going off wide there, I don't know who that was. It's MP Racing there in the Mercedes, and as we can see now, Chaz has had a mistake because he's somewhat gone on the inside there. That's not the ideal racing line around here, and I think he's going to be a sitting duck now for his teammate Peck. And are they going to do a bit of a multi-21 orders here? I don't think they are, as Chaz is a bit lagging there, as he's gone slightly wide, and looks like Peck's made the move up to 5th position, and looks like Chaz is dropping down the order. He's gone from 5th to 8th. Oh, well, I don't know what's happened there to Chaz. We might need to see a replay of that if we have got one. And he's now in a battle now with Rabox, and they're now side by side as they're going through the old pitch straight here before they moved there in 2010, I believe, or 2011, I apologise, on there. And it looks like Chaz there just keeps the position, and there's Artos now in 8th, and Rabox has dropped down to 9th. And lots of action going up and down the field here, lots of horses going on here, a lot of battles going on there, and it looks like the leaders are pulling away from this little small
all the way back in
pack that are squabbling for position. I was on the back of Rabox as we now jump on board with the race leader Hamish, who in the Sauber, and looks pretty nice in these conditions, nice and lovely. The Sauber on this game looks good, and it looks like he's slightly pulling away from F1 LS Monster, and it looks like Hamish took a bit too much curb there, which does hinder exit speed. And we'll look at the gap now. It's 1.3 seconds, and remember, as you just see on the screen there is no DRS as it's pouring it with rain, and it is deemed unsafe to use it as Hamish sets a 1:39.544.
Well, yeah, as you can see, it's the fastest lap of the race, but I'm not sure for how long, because I think Thomas, or F1 LS Monster, I'm quite sure he was closing in very quickly then. So it'll be interesting to see which driver is the first to break that fastest lap. Anyway, on board with Jay now. He's behind MP Racing, under pressure by Chicane, who's actually lost a little bit of time to him there, just on the exit of turn 4, I think it is. Yeah, we see Chicane trying to make up a few positions. Let's see if he can take Jay up into the inside of this high-speed right-hander, and approaching 300 kilometers an hour, and then he's going to be hitting the braking point at about 50 meters. Only a tap on the brake, even in the wet conditions. It's not heavy braking around here. This is a very high-speed track and very aggressive on the tyres because of its high speed. It looks like Rabox is just pulling away from Chicane lap by lap.
Yeah, but it looks like actually, as you say, it looks like Chicane's in the draft of Rabox, and he's going to try and attempt the outside move at Stowe corner as we jump on board now with Rabox, and he's keeping that inside line of Stowe very nicely, but Chicane's still going for it. Is he going to get the inside now into this penultimate corner? And he's got the inside line, but Jay is holding it around the outside, and that is brilliant defending there from Jay. I know him pretty well. He's a very clean and very likes to defend pretty well, as Chicane is drifting through the final corner out of club, sets a 42.5 as his newbie is half a second behind Rabox. Kaiku behind him, only 7 tenths behind, and there's a lot of squats going on down the field and upfield. As we jump on board now with Peck in the Williams with the nice Martini mod on, which is always good to see the mods coming out there. As he's in 5th position and sets a 40.7 as his best lap, so it's reasonably good time there from Peck. And I think he's about a second behind Silvero. He just goes slightly wide out of that corner and just gets a bit of gravel on there, on his tyres, on his rears probably. So he's going to be struggling coming out of this corner. As you can see, he's drifting out of there. A lot of oversteer there. As we're jumping back on board with Chicane now, he's still behind right box, and it looks like there's a three-way horse here for 8th position as Jay is just up the road. And look at this now. We jump on with Peck and DC fighting for 5th position. Oh, this is side-by-side bumper cars action here at the front here, with DH in that Caterham, who I believe is a reserve driver. That is correct, Hamish, or I could be wrong.
No, it isn't. DH, he has actually changed his name, and this is his different Steam profile. So he's actually got the game on 2 separate Steam profiles, which I find rather odd. So we have DH1806, and then you have DH #3. So I'm not sure what the causes of that was. Anyway, we have Peck on DH. The only reserve drivers at the moment is DH, got it into my head now, is Dysenia. However, he's now driving officially for McLaren at the time of recording this, so he's now an official driver. So other points you see now will go towards his end total rather than just like points because he's been racing. Anyway, we see Peck on DH. Let's see, it'll be interesting to see if he's going to be trying to move. He's went a little bit too sharp into that corner. That's really compromised his exit, and Chaz is right behind him. Peck did look back, but not enough for us to really see where Chaz is, and he's actually, the gap is almost exactly the same, just 1,000th out. So yeah, Peck's got the same gap from the driver ahead and behind. On board now with Chicane, who's making a few mistakes in these last couple of laps, but he's not necessarily losing time. So it'll be interesting to see whether he can gain a bit of time without making any mistakes in the next few laps.
Yep, as we jump on board now with Right Box, who I'm shocked to see that he's already on optimal fuel already. That is a bit of a risky strategy, maybe on aggressive fuel. As we now jump on board with the race leader, AOR Hamish, who's got a nice 3.1 second lead over Dysania, who is the reserve driver. And I've got to say, he's doing a fantastic job, Dysania, in his in the reserve driver role in second place. He's definitely got to get a permanent drive. As you can see, Hamish has gone off there. I don't know what's happened there. Maybe just locked his tyres up, just missed the braking zone, and that's going to give Dysania a bit of a sniff here that he has the confidence to try and get up and catch up. And you can see the gap was 1.9. As we jump back on board with Riot Box, who's fighting with MP Racing, and they've made contact, and they go both off into club corner, and that's just given Chicane the chance to go past, and he's got past MP Racing. Kaiku's now overtaken MP Racing as well, and now we have a 4-way horse now for 8th position, and the gap, I think, between all 4 of them is about 2 seconds. As now we're back on board with Peck, now he's going to try and go round DH #3. Down the inside he goes and takes a bit of curb, but gets away with it. But I think DH has still got it, he has done, and keeps the position in 5th. As back on board with Chicane now, still fighting with Riot Box, and Kaiku's behind him. MPH is racing. There's lots of action going up and down the field. This is what we want to see in league racing. And Riot Box gets a fantastic exit, but Chicane will use the draft and the curves to catch up with Riot Box, which is just so. Drops back to stand to save a bit of fuel behind Riot Box. And the gap 2 tenths ahead and 7 tenths behind as we're back on board Peck. And it's the battle of the rival of the teammates now, as it looks like Chaz finally gets past his teammate up into 6th position. But they've got to be aware, Chaz does have a bit of lag, as we can see his car moving forwards, backwards a bit, flying all over the place it looks like. So they've got to be aware that they don't want to take each other out to a Red Bull Turkey moment in 2010. Now do we, Hamish?
No, we don't, as we go to Hamish. He's actually half a second up. That's only half a second up on his last lap, and if you recall, he made quite a big mistake coming into this very corner. He hasn't this time, however he's going quite slowly, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets purple. But I'm just wondering, what are the drivers saying to each other in that situation where you have 2 drivers in the wet, 7 and 6th and 7th, I think. Yeah, it's 6th and 7th. They don't really want to be losing those points, especially if you're Williams and you're battling for drivers and constructors. really you'd say you'd want to give Chaz the advantage, as he's currently leading the Drivers' Championship. So yeah, anyway, we see Kiku 1.5 seconds behind Chicane, and Chicane's only 0.8 behind Jay. As we swap to the two Williams, it looks like with that clean air, Chaz has really been able to pull away. I wouldn't be surprised. Peck's making quite a few mistakes. I wouldn't be surprised if Peck's about 1.5 seconds down. Let's have a look at the gap as they cross the first sector. It's 1.1, but it certainly looks a bit more, and Peck's gone very deep into that corner. However, he's managed to keep it on the road quite nicely.
Yeah, he has, and Jay looks like he's 6 seconds behind this pack, so if these guys all get together and have a little squabble, Jay could catch up here, as he looks like he's going to probably make a pit stop here, which I have no idea what the tyres are like in the wet on it, but I'm guessing they're bad, as it's only 8 laps, so I'm thinking there could be a 2 or 3 stop pit stop here, I believe, depending on if the weather dries up nicely here. As we did see 79% chance of rain, so there could be a chance it could stop at some stage, and look at those tyres, they're reasonably not bad. I would say you could get another couple of laps, and as I say that, actually, Jay's coming to the pit lane now, as we believe Peck is also in the pit lane as well. So lots of guys coming in now, trying to get the undercut on the guys in front, as the very slow pit lane round Silverstone, 30 miles an hour I believe it is, as Chicane goes up into 4th position due to these pit stops, as Jay will come into this pit box now, and with these lovely cinematics here, lovely, I love these, as he gets a lovely 3-second pit stop there, great stop by the Toro Rosso guys, as looks like there's Peck now, who did a pit stop a lap earlier, and is up into 7th position, so he hasn't really lost anything from there, I believe. I think he might have overtaken Chaz.
Yeah, he has. It looks like the undercuts worked quite well on these wet tyres. However, talking about Chaz is going to take a look down the DRS straight. Of course, Chaz won't be getting DRS, but he is going to have a look, and Peck's using Curse to defend, and Chaz is not going to be close enough to have a look into this corner, and no, he isn't. Peck's gone very deep. That's surely the position to Chaz, and unfortunately, we don't see if Chaz does get position, because we're on board with Hamish. Anyway, is Hamish going to be pitting on lap 9? He is in. So Daisanya, I wouldn't be surprised if he followed. And we're having a look at the race director. Let's see if so yeah, we can have a bit of a look at the positions, and we see F1 LS Monster is he's fallen down the grid quite a bit.
Yeah, Daisanya has stayed out. Risky that, as we see Hamish still. We're going to get another 3-second pit stop. We do indeed. Great stop there by the Sauber guys, and we're on board with Chicane as he's coming around Club Corner now to start another lap. And I'm just surprised that Daisanya is staying out. I believe that, as you can look at Chicane's tyres, for example, they are going like crazy, those tyres. They are going to be very worn, and I think at this stage that I would pit, because you're going to lose a lot of time. But the advantage that these guys who are staying out is the fact that they will have more time. Their tyres will be much slower than the guys who have already pitted, and if it gets dry, they could save an extra pit stop here. So, yeah, very risky strategy to use, but it could work out if they get it right with the weather. And we believe that the weather is get lighter at the end of the race, as our weatherman has reported it's going to get lighter at near the end of the race. So it could be interesting to see how that will pan out, as Peck's now on board with him now, as it looks like Chaz got overtaken Peck there, as nice big gap there between Peck and Riot Box there, and I think the gap's going to be around about 7 or 8 seconds as we get across the split now. It's 7.3 there for Riot Box, so he's lost a bit of ground to these guys. I think he lost about 1.5 seconds in the pit stop phase, as we're now back on board with Chicane, who I will believe will be pitting this lap. He has to, I believe, as he's in the cockpit view. As we're back on board with the race leader Hamish, who's now coming down the track, as we see, I think Daisanya is still staying out on the track, which is unbelievable on there, and so does DH as well. These guys are really taking the biscuit here, as Hamish is 9 seconds away from this leading pack, and if the tyres are going and the top two are struggling, there could be a bit of a problem for Hamish to get past these two guys up ahead.
Yeah, possibly, like you've said, Ryan. It looks like they're really stretching out the tyres, and it looks like Jay, we're talking about him losing time. However, he's actually just went purple, and he's almost taken out 1 second on the drive ahead of him, so it looks like he's making some excellent progress. as he comes around the final corner, executing it quite nicely, and he's on -1 lap of fuel. So one would suggest that he went into rich at one point, but we obviously haven't caught that on camera. Anyway, on board with Peck now. He's behind his teammate Chaz. It looks like these drivers almost can't be separated. It's yeah, they pull out, they close in, they pull out, and they close in, but they can't be separated on track. And Hamish is now 7.3 seconds, so we'll have to keep an eye on that gap, see how much he closes in per sector. So hopefully we're going to be able to stay with Hamish until this until the next sector, which is coming up fairly shortly as they come through the Maggots and Becketts. It's very easy to cut this section, especially in the wet, and it's really going to lose you time because of auto braking, especially if you go onto the grass. And here we go. Has he caught on? It's 7.3. It's now 5.6. He's taken out a near 2 seconds on DH ahead. This is quite incredible. So surely DH and Dysenia are going to have to be pitting, otherwise they're just going to be losing too much time. And they haven't pitted. Hamish is going to catch up with DH after that, at the end of this lap. And is Chicane going to be pitting? That's the next question we want to ask.
Well, we're about to find out. It looks like someone is in the pit lane, and it could potentially be Chicane, but we're not too sure yet. We're going to get further confirmation as we do. As Chaz makes a massive mistake out of Stowe, and that just gives Peck the opportunity to get a sniff of an overtake on his teammate here. They seem to be reasonably on pace together, as we're about to find out who is in the pit lane, I believe, and they don't actually gone. There's Dysania. Surprise package of them all is done a 38.2 there. So I believe this is ahead, and I believe that the pit stops have gone through already. So Hamish, I think that's correct. If I am.
Yeah. So it looks like we skipped the end of the same lap. So it looks like drivers have made their pit stop, and Dysania's got the pace on Hamish now, as you'd expect with those. I'm trying to think how many laps fresher his tyres were. I think it's probably about 4 laps fresher tyres. So, yeah, congratulations really if he can make this strategy work. Anyway, on board with Peck, and 5 laps later the gap's exactly the same. DH on his fresh tyres is also going to be closing in on Peck, as into this second sector now. Right box is behind Peck. Chicane is behind right box. He stayed out quite a few laps. What's the time now?
Sorry to interrupt you, Hamish. We've seen someone gone off wide. I think that was Peck's teammate there. Just Chaz has gone wide, and he's lost position. But what's interesting is I just noticed his right box is putting the intermediates on in his next start. That's going to be interesting. See how that goes, and he's going off the line there to get some temperature in these tyres, and I think it's somewhat near borderline now. The intermediates and the wet, so a bit risky for right box to be pitting for intermediates now. And look at the grip he's getting and the speed, and Peck's struggling now on his old wet tyres, and I think Jay could get a move done here on Peck as they're coming down the hanger straight. And they're going to be nearly almost side by side going into Stowe corner. I think Jay might get it here, but no, he decides to back out of it. Nice, consistent, clean driving there from Jay. And are we going to see pit stops? We do indeed. Looks like Peck was just deciding not against it, but Jay staying out, which is I think the wise move to do, as Dysania sets a 37.1, a new fastest lap, and he could be sniffing a win here at this rate if he keeps up the pace of Hamish. And we don't know what the gap is up front, but I'm guessing it's going to be up as we see Peck now in the pits. Is it going to be another 3-second pit stop? We're going to see what tyres he's going to be putting on here.
Is it Inters? It is.
It's the Inters. Very risky strategy now by Peck, and I think it's just slightly too early. I think for Inters, but he will have the advantage over the pack as soon as the track dries up. But it depends how quick that this Silverstone track dries up. And over the years, it does dry up quite quickly on there, as it looks like the rain is slowly dying down. I think it's just light at the minute, maybe spits of rain, and look at that. Peck's just gone off, and I think that's just clearly shown that he's just made the wrong decision at the wrong time. There's a lot of puddles on the track, but if he keeps it clean, doesn't make a lot of keeps consistently slow and keeps it on the track, it may come back to him at the end of the race. But I do believe that it's just a couple of laps too early, I believe there, Hamish.
Yeah, it'd just be interesting. It looks like we've got a bit more of a dry line here. If he stays on the line, and I wouldn't say that's completely horrific. It looks like he was able to get the car around the corner, but not as fast as the drivers on the wet tyres are. So it'll be interesting to see how much Jay has sort of extended his gap, because you would assume that he's extended the gap on Peck. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes in now, as we're not going to see because we're on board with Chicane, who's due a pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see if... No, he hasn't came in, he has stayed out. So it'll be interesting to see if he's actually extending his gap to Peck. Of course, they're in completely different locations on the track, so you can't judge at the moment. Anyway, on board with our race leader, he's actually going purple on his wet tyres. How far is behind is Daisanya? Let's have a look, 7.4, and we've seen Daisanya have some very good pace over the last few laps, so it'll be interesting to see if he can close in on Hamish.
Yeah, as I was going to say, DH #3 was in the pit lane as well, so I'm guessing he's going to be on Inters, but yeah, if these guys who want Inters stay on the racing line, the dry line, they'll be fine, but if they just go slightly off the racing line, they will lose a lot of grip on there. And I noticed Jay's left front tyre is absolutely shot, so I don't know how he's going to be coping now going through most of these corners, and I think he's made the call to his pit crew. He will be coming in this lap, I believe, and he's still a -1 lap of fuel. He will have to fuel save at some stage. He's been back on board with the race leader. 7.3 seconds is the gap. We've only got... Oh, and he's gone slightly wide there. Maybe a bit of a lock up there from Hamish, and that will give Daisanya a bit of hope that he can catch up and get, hopefully, a win. I believe it will be his first win of the season if he gets up there. But Peck there, losing a bit of time now on these intermediates, and I think he's slowly getting these tyres to work now on this track, because it's still going to dry up, as I think there's just a few spots now from the heavy rain we had at the start of the race. But it's not long to go. Maybe some of these guys may be considering even staying out. But as I said that, Chicane's in the pit lane for a pit stop, and who's that up front? I think that's Chaz, and I think the top 5 are in, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on this, as these guys are in for, I believe it will be intermediates, as the McLaren mechanics are out, as right box is in for a fresh set of intermediates. Another good 3-second pit stop there. Same for the Mercedes guys, and they put intermediates on as well on Chicane's car. On board now with Peck, who is on the intermediate, so he could potentially gain some positions here on these guys. There's a lot of guys coming out of the pit lane, as he's on the back of Kaiku, who we haven't really mentioned about in this race. He was up at the front at the start of the race, who is still on wet tyres, and it looks like Peck's going to go on the outside at the village corner and gets it done. Hold on to the inside there, Peck. Get it done. He does so. Holds the position and has a bit of a drift, but he's up into 9th place, and hopefully now, with most of these guys on the intermediates, they'll be going to be catching up now. As we see Hamish now come round Stoke corner, and he's got to be pitting now. No, he's staying out. Very risky strategy this by Hamish.
It's Daisanya in the pits. This will be interesting, because this could be where Daisanya jumps Hamish. So let's see if he comes into the pits, and no, as we can see on the map, he hasn't. So it'll be interesting to see what do these top 2 drivers do. They're clear of the rest of the field by 33 seconds. Can you believe it? So Hamish and Daisanya have just they've left the field behind. So it'll be interesting to see what the top 2 do, because it's only the lead is really up to Hamish and Daisanya to win it. So anyway, we're on board with right box. Silver is just behind him, only 0.4. I'm quite sure Silver is on the intermediate tyres, so they're on a level playing field. And I'm not sure which driver is behind Silver Arrow. Anyway, Hamish does come into the pits, and well, he's going to be coming on to intermediates.
Surprisingly enough, Daisanya stayed out again. Is he thinking, let's stay on the end? But it's a risky strategy. I don't know if he will or not.
I found he's thinking of going to dry tyres.
Oh, potentially that would be risky. That will. If Hamish does a 3-second pit stop puts the inters on, and it will all now depend on what Daisanya does. Does he stay out, or does he put dry tyres on? And it looks like the Hamish is on optimal fuel as well, so he will have to fuel save. Speaking of fuel saving, right box is still on -1. He's in standard, but it's gone purple in the middle sector. And are we going to see a new fastest lap by the Toro Rosso driver Going through club corners, you see monsters in the pit lane for what will potentially be intermediates again. As he's got across the finish line, 34.8 by right box. A brilliant lap there from Jay. As starting another lap here. Lap number 22. We've got 5 laps remaining in this British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. And a bit of a corner cut there from Peck, which has hindered his exit there. Jumping over the curbs, and the gap now between Dysenia and Hamish is 14.5 seconds. And if I was Dysenia, I would stay out, take the gamble, just keep it on the track. And you only got a few laps to go, but it depends on how his tyres are at this stage and how quickly Hamish goes at this stage, as he's on what appears to be intermediate territory. And as I said that, Chicane's gone nearly 8 tenths quicker, and is purple in the first sector, and is only 4 seconds away from Chaz, so Chicane's not out of it yet. Could potentially get 6th in position for him, the Mercedes driver, and it's all coming down now to who has the balls of Dysenia or Hamish on pace. Who's your money on, Hamish, at this stage?
Well, I think it's going to be very close. At the moment, I think Dysenia's actually just picked up a penalty for repeated corner cutting. There's nothing major, it's just ever so slight corner cutting, and I think he's actually picked up a penalty, and that's going to add 10 seconds to his race time, so I'd say it's pretty much pointless Dysenia coming into the pits. And you can hear on confirmation that Dysenia has literally just got a penalty as we're saying that. So he's trying something risky. That assumes that he's come into the pits, and yes, he has. He couldn't get the tyres to last to the end of the race. However, on intermediate tyres, which are going to be 5 laps older than DH, we might see Dysenia just pick up second place. So it'll be interesting to see how fast he can close in on DH.
Yeah, I will say as well, I think it's the wise move after getting the penalty to get some fresh tyres, because if he stayed out and then these guys caught up, he would have lost even more position. So I think Dysenia's done the best strategy if for a penalty, and it's a bit harsh on the guy, but the league does clearly state to not corner cut, and if you do, you get a penalty. So it's good to see that the rules are being implemented very well here. As I said, that the sun is coming out here, and it's getting blue skies are emerging on the circuit, and the track could even get dry by the end of this race, and that will really give a very exciting last lap to see how these guys will go on these very worn intermediates now, as we're now on board with Chicane, now going through Copse Corner completely flat, going up towards Maggins and Beckett's, my favourite flowing corners in Formula 1. Nicely drop it down a couple of gears and down another one, on exit onto the hanger straight, as Chicane's nicely done there, and on board with Right Box, who's in an impressive 4th position for a reserve driver. It's good to see the reserves doing pretty well there with Dysenia in 3rd and Jay in 4th. And Jay's even gone quicker in the middle sector. So could this be another fastest lap by the Toro Rosso driver at this stage, as he's coming now to start lap number 24. And it is indeed a new fastest lap, a 33.9, 9 tenths quicker than his last lap. That is impressive to see, as we're now back on board with the race leader Hamish, who is still having issues with fuel at this stage, but he may just get away with it at this stage, as we now see what the gap is between him and DH #3 at this stage, but we don't, as we're now back on board with Charms, who is now fighting with Silverstone for 5th position at this stage, as we see F1 LS Monster now set the fastest lap of 32 flat, as we see Chance get past the back marker there. I don't know who that was.
Tarkin, I think, Ryan.
It was a Turkish flag, so I'll probably go with that at this stage on there, but it's going to be interesting, this battle now. It's Silverstone on the wets, because he seems to be a bit slow. But as I said that, he's got a good exit there, so I'm guessing he is on there. As we see, yeah, you are correct there. It is a Red Bull driver. Oh, I don't know who that is, but it is
Tarkin,
a Turkish.
I think.
Yep.
So Tarkin Biaz, I think that was.
Yep, as Peck there. Looks like he could get chicane at the end of the race here, as Chaz just goes slightly aggressive through Maggins and Beckett's, which will hinder exit speed onto Hanger Straight, which will give, I don't know, I can't remember who that was now, he's up there, but Peck now in 8th position, and there's a bit of lag there with chicane at this stage, but only a little bit of minor lag there, but nothing too serious, down Hanger Straight, and chicane's going to do everything in his power to hold on to 7th position. He will need the points here, as it will help him in the Drivers' Championship, as we're going into the penultimate corner now from Peck, who seems more confident on the intermediates than Chicane, who just does a bit of a corner cut, but I think the stewards have let him off there, giving him a little cheeky warning there on that stage. But we have a 2-horse race here for 7th position, and again up the field. Great, this has been a great race to watch. You can see Chicane lagging a bit still, and Tarkin, who was lapped at the stage, has retired from the race, which is a bit disappointing to see for the Red Bull driver. Kind of copying what it's like in real life for the Red Bull team there. Sorry if there's any Red Bull fans watching this on there, apologies. But we're on to the penultimate lap now, Hamish, and who's got the advantage at this stage between the Williams driver at the bottom there, the 7th position?
Well, I'm not sure. It's going to be very close, I think. I think both of the Williams drivers, Peck and Chaz, I think they've both got a slight advantage on the drive ahead as far as pace is concerned. But it'd be interesting to see if they can overtake. And we've actually got Chaz going to have a look on the inside of Silver Arrow, and he's not able to make the move stick. That's very unfortunate, because it was looking like an overtake of the century. As he goes on the inside of Magnus and Beck, it's again, he's going to get the run down Hanger straight. Is he going to get the move done? He's gone up to Rich. I think Silver would have as well. And
this is going to be interesting.
Let's have a look.
He's going to go on. He's going to think the outside. That will be an impressive move, and they make contact on the back of the diffuser of Silver Arrow. But I think Silver Arrow may have saved Curtis for the hanger straight, and he would have saved the position. And he goes too deep in there, and here comes Charms now round the outside at Club. Oh, they made contact again. Oh my God, this is great racing here. This is what we want to see. Last lap barging like Lewis Hamilton and Massa did a couple of years ago on the last lap, which was pretty brilliant, and we're going to see a repeat of that. But here's Peck now, and his fuel light's flashing here. Is he going to run out of fuel? He's taking the gamble on rich fuel. I don't know why he's doing that at this stage.
Apparently
but back on board with Chaz now, still fighting. Go on, mate.
Sorry. I was going to say, I might just go in. Apparently he's missed his pits by 5 laps, so he's 5 laps. Yeah, so he's missed a pit by 5 laps. That's very unfortunate.
Oh, and I shall mention as well, DRS has been enabled as well. I kind of just spotted that there. Very nice of the stewards to put the DRS on the last lap here. And a bit of sideways there from Chaz, but I think Chaz will have the advantage. As, yeah, Peck looks like his tyres are completely gone at this stage. And Chaz is going down the inside of Silver Arrow now, going into I can't remember what the corner is, I completely forgot on there, but he's got it done down the inside, but Silver Arrow's got back at the position. This is great battling between the two drivers here on the last lap of the British Grand Prix. Are we going to see a repeat of Massa Hamilton once again at Club? I hope we do see that. As now we're coming onto the board, and it's AOR Hamish who's going to take the victory here at Silverstone. But who cares about Hamish winning this race? We've got a battle going on here at the end of this race, and it looks like he's going to go on the outside now. Chaz, is he going to get it done? And that is brilliantly done there from Chaz. What a move that is on Silver Arrow. But Silver Arrow is coming back at him. Is he going to do a last minute move? And Chaz is doing brilliantly there. Back up to the right box, he gets an impressive 4th place on there. But Peck,
nice one.
his tyres are gone. He's definitely gone there. He's not going to get past Chicane there. But that was a fantastic last lap there on there. And there is the race winner there. AOR Hamish wins the British Grand Prix, his home race. He's got to be happy there. Look at him, he's so happy. Look at him putting his fists up in there. And that's what you need to see. And that, Hamish, was a fantastic race there from the guys there. Brilliantly done that. A fantastic British Grand Prix there.
Yeah, I think everyone watching at home would agree, especially for the last couple of laps of Chicane and Peck and Chaz and Silver especially. You could just hear Silver Arrow's frustration in the video. But unfortunately, sometimes that's what has to be done. Last lap, coming up to the penultimate corner, and Chaz gets a move done. Anyway, we're going to have a look at the race results now. We see Hamish taking the win by 14.8 seconds from DH. Then in 3rd we have Jay, he's 22 seconds behind. Dysenia ahead of Chaz only by 3 seconds. We can see how close Silver Arrow and Chaz were, just fractions of a second separating them. Chicane and Peck, again, just a second separating them. And we see Thomas, he's in 9th place. That's a very poor sort of end stint really for him. He was looking quite good for a podium, however he's just lost the pace towards the end, and anyway he's ended up 9th. We see MP taking the final points. He was 43 seconds behind Hamish and about 10 seconds behind Peck. In 11th we see Kiku. He's quite a long way off the pace. He's 64 seconds behind. Then we have Tarkin and Artos DNFing.
And also a big shout out to that Irish guy for getting the fastest lap of 32 flat as well for the Red Bull team. At least one finished. He's doing, it's basically a Daniel Ricciardo situation on there. So Tarkin's retired, he's Sebastian Vettel and all that, but on there. And the Drivers' Championship now, we see Chad still leading at the front there with 107 points, but disappointing for him as DH has gained time on him at this stage, as he's now only 13 points behind who's on 94 points. Silver Arrow, disappointing for the Ferrari driver, but still third in the championship, and still in with a sniff of the championship. He's only 29 points behind, so he needs a really good second half of the season if he's going to have a title push. Zermatt, who didn't race this week, is in 4th with 59 points. Chicane has a jump up ahead of Zypher, who's on 49 points now, with his impressive 7th position. Hamish, who got his first win of the season, I believe, is in 7th place, jumps ahead of Irish guy on most wins, as they both got 40 points. Bates, who's in 9th, who did not race this week, is on 38 points, drops 2 positions in fact. On the MP Racing has 15 points, just ahead of Artos, who did not race, who got DNF'd, is on 14. Then it's Kiku, who had just outside the points, is still on 8 points, along with Peck as well. And then it's the relegation fight with Tarkin, who sadly retired from the races, on 2 points, and Krista, who did not race this week, is on a big fat 0 on there. So Tarkin and Krista have got to get their heads kicking if they want to stay in GP2 next season. On to the constructors now, and Caterham have 153 points and have a very nice comfortable 38 point gap to Williams, who had a mixed bag this week with both their drivers outside the podium positions, which is something that they do not want to do if they are fighting for the championship. Ferrari are in 3rd with 96 points, 12 ahead of Toro Rosso, their sister team, in terms of engine supplies. That's going to be a nice, interesting battle between them. Then we have a freeway horse for 5th position with Sauber on 54 points, just ahead of Mercedes on 49, and Red Bull Racing on 42 points. And then down the order, in last place with 32 points, is McLaren on there. So these guys have got to get a move on if they're going to catch up with Caterham and the Williams boys. If it doesn't, it's going to be a two-way horse for the Constructors' Championship. Hamish, for this race, we've seen a lot of freeway horses, two-way horses, 10-way horses. Who's been your driver of the day today?
Well, I'd say DH, especially starting very near the back of the grid. He put on a really good performance to get up into 2nd, and at one point he was 9th, and he came 2nd. So I've got to say DH, he had an excellent drive.
Yeah, I have to give it though to Right Box. He had a bad start, I believe, and his strategy, staying out a couple of laps longer than most of the guys up front, and his pace was pretty good at the end. And for a reserve driver to get on the podium, he's done a fantastic job, and he's going to probably be a contender to watch out for the rest of the season. Yeah,
definitely. Anyway guys, thanks for watching the Silverstone highlights of the AOR Split 2. That's been me out, and Ryan, thank you very much for being able to commentate with me. It's been a pleasure.